The faint whimpering haunted me, not because it was loud or mournful, but because it was so tiny, so utterly lost in the pouring rain. It was a plea for help being suffocated, drowned out by the hurried indifference of a normal day. When I first heard it, I tried to ignore it. It must just be a lost kitten, I thought, but the sound was persistent, burrowing deep into my mind, refusing to let me remain a bystander. I was on my way to buy carrots when that cry stopped me cold. Driving round the block one more time, I realized it wasn't just a sound, it was a heartbreaking scene unfolding right before my eyes. A man, under the frightened gaze of his grandchild, was cruelly tossing a small dog into a frigid river. He wielded a plastic chair like a weapon, threatening it mercilessly. The poor animal, its pristine white fur soaked, shivered in pure terror. It was just a puppy, so small that a gentle touch would make it cower and wet itself. Yet he was using such violence to terrorize and kill it. A surge of anger and sorrow erupted inside me, pushing me out of my car without a moment's hesitation. I knew I had to do something. Immediately, I rushed to the riverbank. The biting cold of the rain and mud was an afterthought. The only thing I felt was the desperate urge to get this pitiful creature to safety. As I neared, the dog became even more terrified. It had been beaten so much that a helping hand only made it cower and retreat further into the swift current. I had to use every ounce of patience and gentleness I had. It's okay, don't be scared. No one is going to hurt you anymore. I repeated those words like a vow. Finally, I was able to carefully lift him, but he still trembled, whimpering like a lost child. His entire body was ice cold, caked in mud and river water. But I didn't care. Once home, I turned my kitchen into a makeshift emergency clinic. The first priority was to clean and warm him. Looking at his swollen face, his nearly bald body revealing skin covered in sores and terrible scars, I was shocked. Noticing his underbite, I realized it was a birth defect. With that messed up jaw, he couldn't bite anyone anyway, I thought. The name Bulldozer popped into my head. It sounded tough and perfectly suited his resilient appearance, a little fighter who had endured so much pain. His paws were so swollen and raw that he couldn't walk normally. His nails worn down to painful stumps. The healing process demanded endless patience. I took Bulldozer to the vet, where he was diagnosed with severe skin infections and foot wounds. For the first few days, he refused to eat or drink, just lying curled up in a corner with a look of extreme weariness in his eyes. Every time I tried to approach, he would whimper, even flinch. Physical wounds could heal, but the psychological ones were the most difficult. I could only gently place his food and water bowl nearby and step back, letting him feel safe. I spent hours just sitting by his side, so he could get used to my presence and learn that I would never hurt him. A few weeks passed, and a small miracle occurred. Bulldozer's fur began to grow back, starting with soft fuzz on his face, and then over his whole body. His face was no longer barren, replaced by a soft, warm coat. His eyes became more alert, losing their wild, fearful look. He was able to walk on his own, and the swelling in his paws had gone down. One morning, I woke up to something I never thought I'd see. Bulldozer was standing by my bed, gently wagging his tail. He was no longer timid. He leaned his head against my leg as if to say thank you. It was the moment I knew all the effort was worth it. I hugged him, and for the first time, he didn't resist. From that day forward, my life changed completely. Bulldozer, once a discarded dog, became an indispensable part of my family. He was no longer scared, but filled with love and trust. Every morning, I am greeted by his affectionate head nudges and gentle licks. He has become a smart, playful companion who loves running through the house and playing with his toys. Bulldozer's story is a living testament that despite facing cruelty and deep wounds, we can always find goodness and hope. I no longer remember the cold feeling of that river, but I will never forget the warmth of a dog's life being renewed in my arms. He healed my wounds, and I gave him a second chance at life, a life filled with happiness, love, and a promise that he will never have to be afraid again.